Woo! Woo! What's going on, guys? Orm Swarm coming at you with another video. We're on week 2. It was the Bears versus the Detroit Lions. Chicago coming to Ford Field for a week 2 matchup. Another NFC North division matchup. Lions win this game in a blowout, 52-21, 21-52, because say it like that because the Lions are the home team. 21-52, Bears at Lions. The Bears falling to 0-2. Trouble over there, and the Lions, evening up at 500 with 1-1. This game was personal. Ben Johnson, there was all kinds of talk during the week that Ben Johnson made Dan Campbell, John Morton doesn't know what he's doing, blah, blah, this and that. The Lions whoop up on the Bears in a division matchup, and it was embarrassing. It was demoralizing for the Bears, in my opinion, because the Bears were supposed to be this much better team that probably played a better game last week versus the Vikings. Probably should have beat the Vikings last week, and everyone's talking up the Vikings like there's something too as well. And they lost to Atlanta, by the way. J.J. McCarthy, that train came back down, or that spaceship came back down to Earth, by the way, for the J.J. McCarthy lovers, So it's all, but we're going to talk about this Bears game, and it was a beatdown. It was a beatdown, and it's something I think that Dan Campbell needed. Necessarily not from a lot of this fan base, but a lot of the fan base actually did think that that Ben Johnson made Dan Campbell. And I'm not going to deny that there's not a little bit of truth to that. That that his offense, he tweaked this offense. He did the things he did, but Brad Holmes drafted most of these guys, brought in guys through trades like Jared Goff. Dan Campbell with the culture and the grit in developing players. A lot of this falls on Dan Campbell, man, being as good a head coach as he can for the city and embracing that. And I think for Campbell, it was probably very personal. It was very personal, man, for this, even going for it when they're up on three, 4 scores, whatever it was, going for it on 4th down, scoring a touchdown. Ben Johnson taking a little bit of offense to the question being asked by him after the game. Guys, do you think it was demoralizing? Do you think he's trying to embarrass you? And Ben Johnson got irritated. He's like, what do you want him to do? You want him to kick field goals? They don't kick field goals over there. They don't kick field goals in Detroit. Who better to answer that question than Ben Johnson, because he was a humongous part of that for 2-3 years. Dan Campbell's been one of the most going for it coaches in the history of the NFL, pretty much, at a high clip too. So it's like, what are we going to do? And I don't think he was trying to hurt Ben's feelings, but there's stuff out there that comes, and these coaches read this stuff and maybe did take it a little bit to heart. But I don't think he was trying to really embarrass Ben Johnson. They got embarrassed, the Bears, but that's their own doing. And they came into a hostile environment at Ford Field, and they took care of business. So that's it. That's it, guys. We're going to talk about the game. We're going to talk about some injuries here. I'm going to kind of recap the game as I'm going along. I have my ending thoughts going on there. Injuries, Bears. Was that with the Bears versus the road team? Starting nickel cornerback Kyler Gordon, he wasn't playing. He was inactive for the game. It was a hamstring. Linebacker T.J. Edwards had a hamstring, hurt during the game. And then cornerback Jalen Johnson had a groin injury, hurt during the game as well. He was just coming back from a groin injury, so he probably re-aggravated that. Now the Lions, defensive end Marcus Davenport, he went down with an ankle. He went down with, I don't know if it was an ankle or a shoulder first, but he went down, and then he went down again. So he has an ankle and shoulder injury. He doesn't know how long he's going to be. I have a feeling that he's going to be out for a bit. And this is just, something that every Lions fan predicted. You got Dan Campbell out here already kind of like setting it up, saying that they're going to start playing Muhammad more, because Muhammad had a good game. And I like Al-Quadra Muhammad, but he is a rotational piece. Get a sack too. We'll talk about that. But he's kind of setting up the fan base for, news is coming about Marcus Davenport, in my opinion. You got Davenport out there saying He doesn't know how long he's going to be. I'm just glad we got the win. That to me spells that he's going to be out for a little bit. How long? I don't know. Then tight end Shane Zylstra had an ankle injury. Branch got hit, I think a little later in this game too as well, but it turned out to be just cramps. And then Hutchinson kind of had something going on with him as well. I guess Darnell Wright went after him. You saw a couple guys trying to go after his legs. They're trying to get him. They're trying to chop him. The one guy you saw, Hutch, literally, there's a reel of it. He hurdled the one guy when he was diving at his legs to block him, and it probably would have been I think it would have been a clean hit. It's football, so I'm not going after the Bears or anything like that. But there's fans out there that think that they were trying to hurt him purposely. Maybe some were. Maybe it's just football. I don't know, man. But anyways, Hutch got a little something going on with him, but I think he's okay because he's not really on any injury reports. But I do remember him kind of hobbling a little bit. Now, a little stats. We'll go the Bears first, road team. I'll go the passing situation. Quarterback Caleb Williams, the young quarterback, was 19 for 30, 63%. 207 yards, 2 touchdowns, 1 interception. He was sacked 4 times. And quarterback Tyson Bagent came in later on this game when it was pretty much over with. He was 2 for 3, 27 yards. He did have a fumble, but one of his guys fumbled. I think it was Kyle Monange, the rookie running back. But we'll go rushing. Running back DeAndre Swift, he was 12 for 63, 5.3 yards a carry. He had a touchdown with a 20 long. He did have a fumble and a fumble lost as well. And then running back, rookie Kyle Monange, he was 7 for 28, 4 yards a pop. He had a fumble recovery, that's right. I think it was from Tyson. He had a long of 10 yards rushing. And then quarterback Caleb Williams, they held him to 5 carries, 27 yards, 5.4 yards a carry. They did rush for 134 yards as a unit, though. So, yeah. The receiving, wide receiver Roma Dunze had an absolute phenomenal day. 7 for 128 yards, 18.3 yards a catch, 2 touchdowns, 11 targets. He abused Terrion Arnold. Abused him. He did. He flat out abused Terrion Arnold. Wide receiver DJ Moore had 5 catches for 46 yards. DJ Reed, I think, was on him most of the game and did a pretty nice job on him. 9.2 yards a catch, 6 targets. Tight end Cole Kmet had 2 for 29 yards, 14.5 yards a catch on 2 targets. And then wide receiver, all the mid-A, Zacchaeus, only 2 catches for 12 yards. He was a guy that I thought maybe would have a sleeper day. He didn't do nothing. Can't get them all right. 6 yards a catch and 5 targets. Their defense, safety Jaquan Brisker had 9 tackles. Linebacker Tremont Edmonds had 7 tackles, no tackles for loss. Cornerback Tyreek Stevenson had 7 tackles, 1 tackle for loss as well. Linebacker Noah Sewell, Panay's little brother, 5 tackles, 1 tackle for loss. Defensive tackle Javon Dexter Sr., 1 tackle for loss. He did have a quarterback hit. He was a guy that I was a little bit worried about because of our guard situation. Defensive end Montez Sweat had 4 tackles and a quarterback hit. And the defensive tackle Grady Jarrett had a tackle and 2 quarterback hits. So 4 quarterback hits altogether against Goff. No real damage done. Not sacked once. So the O-line and Goff did their jobs on that day. And kicker Cairo Santos only had 3 extra points. Rookie Luther Burden, the wide receiver, and wide receiver Devin Duvernay held punt returner and kick return duties. Duvernay was the main punt returner, though. Burden was averaging 29.5 yards a kick as a kick returner. And then Detroit, go to passing. Quarterback Jared Goff was 23 for 28. That's like a 75%. I didn't even write it down. My math is terrible, but that's got to be in the 70s, 80%, whatever ratio. Close, 70%. 334 yards. I'm probably so wrong on that. 334 yards, 5 touchdowns, 0 interceptions. Sacked 0. His ratings were through the roof. His passer rating, his QBR was just through the roof. Perfect. Made a perfect game pretty much, and he was throwing dots and dimes. He lit it up, guys. He had a phenomenal football game. Even his coach came out and said, he goes, "We got a stud at quarterback." He was throwing dimes. He was throwing dots. He was doing his thing, and when he's got protection, he's one of the best in the league. And they protected him. I thought the O-line did a pretty good job, man. Let him get hit a couple times, but that's going to happen. So he was awesome. Now, rushing the ball, the rushing game came to life. Running back Jahmyr Gibbs was 12 for 94 yards with 7.8 yards a carry. He had a touchdown. He had a 42 long. Running back David Montgomery was 11 for 57. So right down the middle, pretty much, guys. You're seeing it again this year. 12 for Gibbs, 11 for Monty. It's the same thing. 5.2 yards a pop. He had a touchdown, 18 long. Jared Goff had one carry for 6 yards at 6 yards a carry. So good for him. There's a couple other carries in there. I think Khalif Raymond had an end around. St. Brown had a couple carries as well. They love to mix and match it. 177 yards on the ground. So a nice day for the offense. A beautiful day. Over 500 yards of offense. 511, I think, to be exact. Receiving, wide receiver Amon-Ra St. Brown was 9 for 115 yards. 12.8 yards a catch, 3 touchdowns. He was hot from the get-go on 11 targets. He had a fantastic football day. Wide receiver Jameson Williams, Waymo, had 2 catches for 105 yards, 54 yards a catch. He had a touchdown, 4 targets. Wasn't targeted a lot, man, but he's that game breaker. He's just a game changer. His speed is unmatched. You can't teach it. And he's just so good at it. He's just so fast. It's incredible how quick the separation this kid can get at times. And he was wide open on the touchdown. The first throw that he threw to him, he was like 60-something yards. Made a nice catch in the flat, I believe. It was a nice catch out there on a little flat route. And then he just turned it upfield, made a couple moves. Almost got in the end zone, actually. Almost got in the end zone, got to, I forget where he got to. He got inside the 10-yard line. Then I believe they scored a touchdown. They had a bunch of touchdowns. Goff had 5 touchdowns. So it was just an amazing day for the Lions. And so J-Mo had a huge day with a touchdown, 105 yards and 2 catches. Wide receiver rookie Isaac Tesla with another one-handed catch. One catch. So he was 1 for 29 yards a pop. Only 1 target. But he made another one-handed stab. It was incredible. He has 2 targets in the NFL and 2 of the most incredible catches I've ever seen. And then the Lions got away with a little bit something there. I don't really know what happened. He caught the ball, went out of bounds. Then they didn't get the they didn't get the clock reset or something like that. One of the referees, I think, blew the whistle, stopped the clock, and then they put back on 6 more seconds. So we might have got away with something, but I didn't really look too much into this because I'm kind of hearing a mixed bag on it. Well, some people are saying that the Bears got hosed and the Lions got helped out, and then people are saying, well, it was the rule if the referee stopped the clock or you could put the seconds back. I don't really know. I didn't look in too much into it, but it felt like we got away with something there. And then we scored a touchdown on Amon-Ra St. Brown. So. And then we went up like 28-14. And then Brock Wright had 3 catches, 28 yards, 9.3 yards a catch, touchdown, 3 targets. I'd like to see that. Tight end Sam Laporta had 3 catches for 26 yards, 8.7 yards a pop on 4 targets. A little bit slow for Sammy, but that was okay. Amon-Ra was doing all the dirty work, and the run game was pretty much on point. Gibbs and Monty with 4 catches too. They had 4 catches between the two, I believe. I think Gibbs had 3 and Monty had 1. Over 500 yards plus on the offense. Like I said, just a juggernaut of a day on offense. Like I said, Ben Johnson, who? And I'm not throwing any shade at Ben Johnson, man, but when you have the personnel to do this is going to happen. Is this going to happen every game? I don't know. Our first game of the year, we moved the ball a little bit. But we couldn't capitalize in the red zone, couldn't get the run game going. But this game was completely different. Now the Bears are a way worse team than the Packers. The Packers are a very good football team. The Bears are not. So, you got people telling me, well, it's the Bears. Well, it's an NFL football team. What are you going to do, man? It's who you're playing. That's what the schedule says. That's who you play. So they abused the Chicago Bears, abused them. And some people want to see it, but some people are not happy. They still have to say, well, it's the Chicago Bears. Well, 3 days ago, you were telling me that they're probably going to lose, but now it's just the Bears. So you type of fans can't even make up your mind. Now let's go to the defense. Linebacker Jack Campbell. I think he got banged up too, but I think he's okay. Jack Campbell, he had 8 tackles and a fumble recovery. That's what I like to see, him getting the forced fumbles, the fumble recoveries, the sacks. I like that he's on the ball a ton. Fumble recovery is nice. Safety, Brian Branch, 6 tackles, 2 tackles for loss, a sack, a forced fumble. He had a quarterback hit, he had a pass deflection. He was all over the field. There's a reel out there where he knocked his forced fumble actually, where everybody looked like they were in slow motion except for Brian Branch. He comes in out of nowhere and hits DeAndre Swift in the arm with the football. It hits the football, and Swift's body literally like turns upwards towards the roof, and the ball just goes flying up in the air. And Branch is coming in like a heat-seeking missile. Amazing play by Brian Branch. Was completely going for the ball. It wasn't even going for the tackle. And some guys have that ability to do that, And then if you win, he's a special type of player. He's a special type of player. I love that kid. Then cornerback Terrion Arnold. He had 6 tackles and a pass deflection. I thought he had a horrible game. He got abused by Roma Dunzier. He did. Linebacker Alexander Zaloni had 4 tackles. Cornerback DJ Reed had 5 tackles. I thought he did a decent job on DJ Moore. You don't like to see your corners getting all these tackles. Usually that's because that they're giving up receptions. But I thought DJ Reed played a really good game. El Quadra Muhammad had 3 tackles, 1 tackle for loss, a sack, and a quarterback hit. He had a nice game. We're going to see him probably starting this Monday coming up against the Ravens. Safety Kirby Joseph had 2 tackles, pass deflection, and a real nice interception by a really bad throw by Caleb Williams. That he should have been sacked on the play. Hutch was all over his back, and he just fell off him. Caleb's a big kid. He's strong. He can run. He's got powerful legs. So and then Hutch just slipped right off him. But he then the pursuit of him, he threw the interception. And then defensive end Marcus Davenport with a tackle for loss. He had a sack and a quarterback hit. Hopefully he's not injured too much, because he is a decent player, man. He's good actually, but he just can't stay healthy. He gets hurt. He got hurt on the sack, actually. He hurt himself on the sack. Looked like it was his shoulder. And he came back and he hurt his ankle or something, vice versa. Just, that guy just can't stay healthy. And I just hate the fact that Brad Holmes doesn't take it as serious. And I know he takes this job serious, but it just seems like, why wouldn't you just help out your situation? Help out your star defensive end, Aiden Hutchinson, and get him some help. You don't got to go get, like I said, you don't got to get Myles Garrett. You don't got to get the Bosa brothers, or, you don't got to get TJ Watt. Those guys would be nice, but you don't have to make that move. You don't got to get Trey Hendrickson. Now, get him some help. I think someone's going to be coming in now, obviously, if Davenport's going to miss any time. Because I don't trust anybody in that practice squad. Keith Cooper Jr. is still a rookie. Andre Carter is just not a good football player. Okay? Not in the NFL anyways. And Isaac Ukwu is a nice little story as an undrafted free agent, but let's be real with that too as well. So, you know what I mean? Get him some help. Hutch had a tackle for loss, a sack, and a quarterback hit. Probably should have had two sacks like I alluded earlier, but he did have a good game. Defensively, he was pressuring Caleb more than once, more than twice, more than 3 times. He was on Caleb's ass. He was. The defensive tackle rookie Tyleik Williams had, he didn't stuff the stat sheet. I heard Woodward Sports going off about this earlier today. Yelling at Lions fans for some reason about this, saying that we know he's not going to get 10 sacks. We know he's not going to get 10 sacks. He's not that type of player. But he's going to disrupt. He's going to cause some chaos. He's going to put his hands up. The two pass deflections were perfect. I love seeing stuff like that. He's not a small guy. He can get his arms up there. He was like 6'3", 6'4", maybe even bigger than that. And he can get his arms up, man. 2 pass deflections. I love it. And then linebacker Grant Stewart, he was doing kick return duties, and then wide receiver kicker Wide receiver Khalif Raymond had punt return duties as well. Kicker Jake Bates, he was 1 for 2. He did miss a long of, I believe it was a 52, 53 yarder. Might have been 54, but it was a 50 pluser. He missed it. He did go 1 for 2. The 34 that he hit, 34 long. Don't know what he missed. It was in the 50s though, and then he was 7 for 7. He was perfect on extra points. So it was 28-4 at the halftime. 28-14 at half. Pretty much out of reach, for the Bears. And the Lions just poured it on in the second half. Now, let's talk about the team stats. Okay? Team stats, I'll go Bears first. First down, they had 19. Third downs, they were 7 for 13. Rushing, 134 yards on the ground. The Bears, they had a good day rushing the ball. Passing, 205. Total yards, 339. Sacking yards, they had 0 across the board. 0 sacks, 0 yards, which is pretty impressive because they got a couple of the guys over there that can get to the quarterback. Interceptions thrown, Caleb threw 1. Punts and then average. They had 4 punts, average out about 53 yards. Penalties, the Bears had 8. That really burned them a lot too. Eight penalties for 50 yards. Fumbles and lost. They had 2 fumbles, but only 1 of them were lost. Possession, they had 29 minutes and 40 seconds. On fourth down, they were 0 for 2. So couldn't get it twice. I think they tried to push at least once or twice. Got no push. At least one time. They were talking about it on the radio too when I was going into work, either this morning or coming back home. I don't remember. But yeah, they tried to push. It just did not work. So Lions got that on one of those fourth down attempts. So right there. And then, so the Lions team stats, they had 25 first downs. They were 4 for 10 on third down conversions. 177 yards rushing. They had 334 yards passing through the air. Total yards of 511. Sacks, we had 4 for 29 yards lost. Interceptions thrown, Goff threw 0. Punts and average, we had 3 punts for 49 yards. So Jack Fox was better this week than he was last week. You like to see that getting into the 50s, but he'll get going. Penalties and yards, we had only 3 penalties, which is nice for 28 yards. We had 0 fumbles, 0 lost. We possessed the ball 30 minutes and 20 seconds, and we were 1 for 1 on fourth down. I think that 1 for 1 was the touchdown. That Ben Johnson kind of got upset with the reporter asking that question, which was a stupid question too. Like, what are we supposed to do? But guys that stood out on offense for good or great games, I thought Amon-Ra St. Brown was great. Jared Goff was phenomenal. J-Mo, tight end Brock Roy had a nice game. Right tackle Penei Sewell locked it up. Running back Jahmyr Gibbs, Monty. I can go. The list goes on and on. I think a bad game on offense. There's a couple guys. I thought, it was a little bit later on when you saw some of the reserves coming in. Offensive tackle Coyote Wisika didn't have a great game. The rookie guard Tate Ravage, I thought he was really bad in run blocking. He was great in pass blocking. Not great, but much better. That kid's learning. Not attacking him or anything like that, but he needs to get a little bit better. Especially in the run blocking department. A good game for the defense. Safety Brian Branch was all over the field. Aiden Hutchinson, I think, was good. Defensive end Alquana Muhammad. Marcus Davenport, even though he got hurt, he was seen out there. Rookie nose tackle Tyleik Williams knocking down a couple balls. Cornerback DJ Reed, I thought, did a very nice job as well, especially on DJ Moore. A bad game, I thought cornerback Terran Arnold was bad. Linebacker Alexander Zaloni, he looked a little bit lost in that game. He didn't look too good. Cornerback Amik Robertson didn't have a very good game, and I thought nose tackle Roy Lopez got knocked around a little bit too as well. So nothing to the point where these guys need to be replaced, but those are the guys that I kind of noticed that had bad games. So that's it, guys. That's kind of the recap, man. The recap real quick. Both teams started off hot, touchdowns. The Bears drove down the field, first possession, boom. We did the same thing. And then the Bears kind of gave us a few opportunities. We got a couple turnovers. A couple punts. We had a chance to really open up the game in the first half, like probably by more than 2 touchdowns. But the Bears kind of held in there. And then when the second half started, we just exploded. We just exploded on offense. scoring another 20, 30 points, whatever it was. No, yeah, 20, 23. I want to say 23 points, man. 23 points or 25 points, 26. We just played a lot better in the second half, offensively, defensively. I thought the defense played pretty well. We only gave up another touchdown. In the second half, locked it up. Caleb was under pressure. I don't think they had a lot of success running the ball, even though they got into the end zone. Let me see, how many yards did Sway? He had 63 yards, 5.3 yards a pop. It's not bad. He did have a touchdown, though. They had 134 yards, but I thought of them a lot of empty yards. They did give up 134, though, but I thought a lot of them were empty yards. Only got in the end zone once, so you like to see that. And Swift did have a nice run, about 20 yards at one point in that game. So all in all, I thought they did a really good job defensively. I really do. Even though Roma Dunze had a day and a half, probably his best day in his young career. He was abusing Arnold. But I thought our defense played very, very well. Okay, and then our offense was a juggernaut, and it looked like the reminiscent of old. That's done. 101, guys. Now next week, we're a Monday nighter. No Thursday, no Sunday game coming up for the Lions. We are Monday night, the last game on the ticket against the Baltimore Ravens. This game is going to be tough. And I'm not going to talk about it too much. I'm not going to talk about it too much right now because I'm going to make a video about it eventually during the week. It's a game that I'm extremely concerned about because Lamar Jackson's special and the Baltimore Ravens are a really good football team. And we're going to talk about it. But this game right here, it'd be really nice to win. That's all I'm really going to say. And I'll give you my reasons why next video. Not going to push the panic button if we lose, though, because it's a game that spoiler alert, I think we're going to lose. And I'll explain why when that happens. But I just can't homer it up on this one. I can't homer it up. I don't like to homer it up anyways. You guys know kind of my style. I try to speak the truth as much as I can, even though some people don't believe it that I'm speaking the truth. Some of the people I'm saying stuff just for clicks and views. I don't do that stuff because my channel is a very small channel, so I'm not even trying to make all kinds of money. I do this for the passion, for the love of the game, and the love of my Detroit Lions. I just love my football team. That's why I do this. And I just try to be as honest as I can. Okay, and I'll tell you that, man. But I really think that this game against the Bears was a great game for Dan Campbell to win personally, on a personal level, because the questions he would have been asked would have been diabolical. They would have been nuts. He would have been so annoyed with some of the questions, man. Why'd you let Ben go? What, this and that. He can't stop all that. But it just would have been crazy questions. Why didn't you get this guy? Why didn't you do this here? It just would have been crazy, the questions. So I think it was a very telling moment about this franchise. That not only one guy makes it successful in Detroit. It wasn't just Ben Johnson. It wasn't just Ben Johnson. Ben Johnson came in here and he got bopped around because we have a way more talented football team. And that's really the bottom line. That's what a bottom line comes to. We have more talent, and they're better football teams. They're a better football team than the Bears. So that's it, guys. It's a long video, over 29. It's going to be 29 minutes when I'm all said and done. I really appreciate you guys coming in here, listening to me talk about this. It's a late video. Sorry, guys. This thing won't get uploaded till after midnight. So Lions win 52-21, 21-52. We do it like that. And 101, back in the scoring column, back in the W column. And then we got a tough one coming up in week 3. So we'll talk about that later on. But thanks a lot, guys. Don't forget to hit the subscribe button at the bottom right. Don't forget to hit the notification up top. Don't forget to like and comment. Get it out there. Get it out to your friends, your family, your loved ones. Get everybody to watch this show. I appreciate it, guys. Grit. Hunting season. Let's go. Boom.